Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. Are you finding yourself reactive, short-tempered, defensive, at least to them, your partner, your family member, the covert narcissist that brought you to this podcast? Maybe you're even repulsed by their presence. You know, I reached the point that his very existence in the same room with me was more than I could bear. How did it make me feel? It made me feel like I couldn't breathe. Him just walking in the room and everything about me tightened up. It was like my entire system turned to stone, stuck in place, and I could barely move. Anything that I was working on at the time came to a screeching halt. I could stare at a computer screen for 30 minutes and make absolutely no progress. I would read the same sentence over and over and over and not comprehend a single word of it. My chest tightened, my shoulders tensed, my breathing became shallow, my stomach was a train wreck. My mind was running in circles and yet making no progress. It was just spinning aimlessly. Well, this is a problem. You see, this is the person that's living in my house. I can't get away from him. He's sleeping in my bed. He's professing his love to me. He's raising our kids with me, traveling with me. I can't live like this. This had to change. But how? I'm Renee Swanson, your host of the Covert Narcissism podcast. I am an advocate for survivors of covert narcissistic abuse. I do offer both group and individual healing programs to help you break the isolation, the self-doubt, and the constant ruminating. For more on these group programs and individual programs, visit my website at www.covertnarcissism.com. If you resonate with what I'm describing, or any piece of it, I am sorry that you get it. I do not wish for anyone to ever live this way. It's horrible. It's miserable. It's frustrating. It's confusing, and it's exhausting. So let's voice the problem here. Your body is reacting to their presence. That's the one we're talking about today. No matter how hard you try to talk yourself out of feeling this way, you are simply not going to be successful. You know, no matter how hard I tried, I could not shake these feelings. They took over, whether I wanted them to or not. Well, why? Why do they take over? Why can I not shake these feelings? Well, because you've lived through so many years of being invalidated by this person, of being put down and made to feel less than and been made to feel insignificant. You've been on the receiving end of countless circular conversations that are full of blame and attack. You've blamed yourself for years for all the problems and worked overtime to fix them, only to be lied to, belittled, and attacked. You see, your system is pretty smart. It's trying to tell you something here. It is simply communicating to you that this person is not safe for you, that they're not safe emotionally and psychologically. And you can try to talk yourself out of this, but your body knows. Your body's number one job is survival. And so it is making you uncomfortable in this situation in order to motivate you to do something about it. It wants you to leave for your own safety. It wants you to protect yourself. Now, physically, I recognize that leaving may not be an option for you. And there's lots of valid reasons that people stay or need to stay in the marriage, whether that be for a short term or long term. And these reasons are financial, maybe it's logistics, business partners or debt. These reasons are kids and grandkids and other family members. Maybe it's religious beliefs. Maybe it's the years you've got invested and you don't want to leave. Maybe you want your marriage because you want the family unit. Whether or not you choose to take physical space from the covert narcissist, you truly must take emotional space and mental space from them. This is vital. Whether your long game is to stay or leave, you must reclaim your mental and emotional energy from their claws. It is time to stop reacting to their games. But how? We give them so much of our mental and emotional energy. We're completely consumed by their reactions to everything. Like, it's to the point that everything we do is centered around how it will affect them, how they will react, what will they think, what will they say, what will they do. So what does it look like to stand up for yourself to a covert narcissist? There was a recent post in the Facebook group that said, it seems like all the advice we get from the narcissistic community, it's things like gray rocking and no contact, but these are more codependent. These are sticking your head in the sand behavior and not advocating for yourself, not speaking your authenticity, not standing up for yourself, which was the problem in this difficult relationship all along. Well, this is a fair point, and I read through some of the answers, and the general consensus in the answers is that, when you try to stand up for yourself to a covert narcissist, you're wasting your time and your energy. You're feeding their fuel. You're yelling to a brick wall. Some people said, we've tried voicing ourselves for how many years and in how many different ways? It's time to move on. And these are all valid answers. You see, preserving your energy and saving your soul seems to be the way that, the narcissistic community says to deal with this. The ultimate standing up for yourself is walking away. You win by no longer engaging with them. But sometimes you can't walk away physically, not yet. And so you need to walk away mentally and emotionally. So I'm going to give you 7 ways to walk away. 7 ways to stop reacting to the covert narcissist that's in your world. Number 1, get grounded in your own beliefs. You see, the more grounded you are, the less you are impacted by their mental, emotional, psychological energy. What are your values and opinions? Not centered around them. What are your thoughts and your feelings? What are your likes and dislikes? What do you believe about yourself, and what do you believe about them? And stand in your truth inside of you. Covert narcissists push their opinions onto you. And sometimes this looks bold and loud and aggressive. Things like, you are so stupid, I can't believe you think that way. Other times, though, and more often with covert narcissists, they do this subtly and kind of coercively or insidiously. You think that? That's interesting. So the more bold would be, you're always late, you can't ever be on time. And the more subtle would be, oh, you actually made it on time today. Good job. Do you hear the underlying undertones that they sabotage your confidence in you? You get to decide for yourself who you are. Now, I'll give you an example. You get to decide what time that you arrive at things and whether you're actually late or not, or if it even matters. I went through this at times when there was not a set time that I was supposed to be somewhere. Let's say there was a gathering that started at 6, but people are arriving at any time. So I would get there, let's say this time I got there at 6:15. Who cares? Nobody in that room cares except him. His words would still get inside me and cause me to feel bad. His words of, oh, you actually arrived now, or you finally made it, and now I feel like I'm late when I'm not late. And I find myself thinking, oh, I should have left sooner. I need to be more careful of that. I wonder what other people are thinking. No, I get to decide for myself if my behaviors are acceptable. And so do you. Get grounded in your own thoughts and opinions. You alone are responsible for you. So what matters to you most? What behaviors for you align with your values? Know your values and your needs. Number 2, avoid arguing with them. Arguing with them is pointless, and it simply fuels their fire. When I stopped arguing, the interactions with him were actually much shorter. So I have a good friend who works with kids, and she was talking about a youngster one day that was having a rough day. And this little guy was throwing a temper tantrum because he didn't get his way, and he was screaming and crying and making demands, and she simply said to him, "I don't negotiate with terrorists." And she walked away. And as she was telling me this story, I thought, what a great statement. I could have used that in my marriage. I don't negotiate with terrorists. You know, someone I was recently meeting with told me that she had started a new yoga class. She said their partner showed up to her first class unannounced and actually took the class with her. She didn't expect him to be there, and her partner being a covert narcissist, he actually continued coming for a couple of weeks until he finally said to her one day, "Okay, I can now permit you to take this class." What? Like she needed his permission? She was shocked by his statement. She had a choice here, and she could argue with him about this. He clearly thought that she needed his permission. But if she stands up for herself, now this is going to be a war. Or she can do her own thing, take the classes she chooses, and start deciding what type of relationship she wants to have. She could look at him and at least think to herself, I don't negotiate with terrorists. You know, an emotional reaction with a covert narcissist does not work. If you get emotionally angry and you show this, it just makes you look bad. They will stay all calm and cool and make you out to be the crazy one. And if you get emotionally sad and show this, and maybe you're in tears, it just makes you look weak to them. They will double down, intimidate you, or berate you until you give in to what they want and you quote, learn your lesson. I'm going to tell you, don't argue with them. Just walk away. Number 3, stay calm. Okay, what? How? How in the world are we going to stay calm? What they are saying and doing is absurd. I sure don't want to stay calm. I want to yell and scream. I want to pull my hair out. This is maddening. Well, you're not wrong here. You know, I recognize that I might as well be asking you to walk on a bed of nails and stay calm in the process. But you need to see their behavior for what it is. This is adult childishness. Do not internalize their words. This is like a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old with their bullying attitude talking to you. Their words say more about them than they do about you. Keep your communication with them factual and unemotional. Number 4, change your interactions with them. You know, I used to, my interactions with him was just, okay, how could I make myself better so that he would be nicer to me? If I just do this, then he will get better and our marriage would get fixed. Let me tell you something. You are not in control of their actions, attitudes, and behavior. No matter what you try to bend this way and that way and become the contortionist of finding everything you can fix about you, you cannot control their behavior. Relationships with covert narcissists are a one-way transaction. Do not expect to be validated by them. Expecting them to acknowledge your reality sets you up for disappointment repeatedly. It sets you up for constant frustration, and it puts you in that position of still trying to find that one more thing to fix so that this marriage will get better, this relationship will get better. Change the mission of your interactions with them. No longer trying to control their behavior, no longer trying to seek validation from them or reconciliation or any of the things you're trying to get from them. Instead, simply communicate for the purpose of peaceful environment, peaceful collaboration, not validation. It's okay to say things like, I am happy to discuss this when we can work towards a solution. When the circular conversation starts, that was one of my lines is, you know what? I am happy to discuss this when we can work towards a solution. I'm not going to keep spinning in wheels over all these things that I've ever done in the past and the things I've said or all the memories. I'm not doing it anymore. Even memories that I'm still trying to get him to take accountability for. No, I'm done. I'm happy to discuss things when we can move forward towards a solution. And that's it. Next is set boundaries. Boundaries are for you, not for them. If you expect the repeated behavior that they've shown you over all these years, then you can make some decisions on how you will set boundaries up. But if I'm still trying to expect good behavior from them, then I have no boundaries because I'm just going to bend over backwards and do everything I can to get the good behavior. Not doing that anymore like we just discussed. So now the boundaries are for me. How will I behave? How will I allow myself to be treated? What decisions will I make? Now, there's no need to make vague statements to a covert narcissist. Things like stop or else. Don't talk to me that way or else. That doesn't work. Number one, it's going to guarantee they're going to talk to you that way. Giving a boundary to a narcissist is like giving candy to a child. You just showed them exactly how they should treat you. And saying the vague statement of stop or else doesn't do any good. They're just going to egg you on to see what that else is. Maybe it's their curiosity. I don't know. But they're just going to keep going. Instead, be specific to yourself on how you will handle yourself. Do not let the covert narcissist command your energy. They will make endless demands on your time and energy. No more. It's not your job to do everything for them. I'll give you an example. They might say something like, well, you need to talk to your brother and tell him not to park his car on the edge of our driveway anymore. Well, why? Why would that be your job to talk to your brother? You know what? He can do it himself. He can talk to your brother. And maybe he doesn't even say straight up that you need to talk to your brother. Maybe he just does it passive aggressively by constantly complaining to you about, where your brother's parking his car, but doesn't speak up on his own behalf. Well, set a boundary here. I will not talk to others on his or her behalf. I will let them speak up for themselves. Now, it may be easy to think, but I'll say it nicer, so maybe I should go do it. No, there's a couple of problems with this. One is you're now going to spend all of your time and energy fixing their issues. You might not have an issue with where your brother's parking, but he does. He or she, whoever your husband or wife is, they're the ones with the problem. No, you don't need to spend all of your energy fixing their problems. This puts them in control of your energy. Another problem with it is it makes you look like a problem to others when you're speaking up over things that really aren't an issue. An example, of this is with my own father. When he was playing with our children, his grandkids, and the kids would get a little loud in the house, I knew it was going to upset my husband. And so I would, quiet them down. I would be telling them to be quiet. Well, it wasn't a problem. In my book, what they were doing was fine. So why am I the one telling them to quiet down? I'm doing it so that they don't get, yelled at by my husband. Well, that's on him. That's his issue, not mine. So I'm done looking like the problem to people when I'm standing up for issues over things that I don't have an issue with. No more solving their issues for them. You get to choose your own issues, and you get to spend your time and your energy on your own life. Another advantage of this is now people will see them for who they are, and you'll quit playing the buffer, helping them to look like the good person, the good guy, or the good woman in this world. No more being that buffer to everyone else around them. If they have an issue with someone, they can be the ones to take up that issue, not you. Next is be gracious with yourself. So many people come to me and say, I feel so stupid. Look, let's just clear this up right now. Covert narcissists fool everyone. Anyone who believes they will never be fooled by a covert narcissist is only fooling themselves. I have psychologists, therapists, marriage counselors, doctors, lawyers that have met with me. They never saw it coming, and they found themselves in a relationship, some of them a long-term marriage with a covert narcissist. These are people trained in personalities and relationships. They study the signs, they study the effects. If they can't see it, why would I ever think that I should have? Covert narcissists thrive on being able to fool anyone they encounter. They present a false self to the world, and this can last for decades, leaving you completely in the dark. Finally, we come to number 7. Be an observer. Watch their behaviors. Almost with a curiosity. Watch them. See what they're doing. Make some, you can, when you watch as an observer, you're not so emotionally connected to it. Now you can make some decisions on your own. You can make some perspective and some judgment on your own of what it is they're doing. Watch your reaction. How do your thoughts respond? How do your feelings respond? Watch like you're eating popcorn and watching a movie. No judgment, no shoulds, no musts, no obligation, no fear. Just observing. I call this having a popcorn moment. When you have that moment, when you see their behavior, you're watching it, but it's almost like you're watching a movie. And you're watching it and you're thinking, okay, wow, that's not what I expected there. Or what does that behavior look like? And you're able to analyze it from a healthier perspective because you were emotionally removed from it. That's a popcorn moment. Please remember that there is nothing wrong with creating a peaceful environment for you and your children while you figure out what to do. In fact, that peaceful environment will give you the emotional and mental space that you need to think clearly and make healthy decisions along the way. That peaceful moment may mean you have to go make peace with them for a little while you figure out what to do. This is not going to fix the marriage, but it can take some of the tension and some of the heat out of the home so that you can have a peaceful environment to think straight while you sort all this out. This is not about changing the covert narcissist, but it is about changing you. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast with your host, Renee Swanson. Be sure to check out our website at www.covertnarcissism.com. There you will find many resources just for you to help you on this journey. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, RENEE, at cnglifecoaching.com. Those letters are CNG as in Covert Narcissism Group. I do look forward to hearing from you. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson and the Covert Narcissism podcast is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes and not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. It does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.